Greetings, fellow sausages, it's the Countess, and today I'm going to be convincing you that the world of Animal Jam is in fact an egg. Now I know that all of you most likely have doubts about this, and you're probably going to think that it's ridiculous from what I'm saying, but trust me when I say that by the end of this video, I will have you thinking that Animal Jam is in fact an egg. So before we begin with the deeper parts of the conspiracy theory, we're first going to start by proving a couple of the questions that you may have that will make you cautious about the fact that this could be true. And I'm going to be showing you how all of those things are in fact not essential factors to disproving the theory. So the first fact is actually the fact that there are indeed eggs already inside Animal Jam. And you're probably wondering, well, how can an egg be inside an egg? If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the egg extravaganza that's going on. And you can have eggs, and a bunch of people have a ton. I had like 20 from a live stream. But yeah, basically they're eggs inside of Animal Jam. And so I know what you're thinking, how is that possible? You can't have an egg inside of an egg. But you would be wrong. See, in this article on franklycurious.com, known to be a very, very reliable source, you'll notice that it says the white thing that we call an egg is in fact not an egg. So I know what you're thinking, how does this have anything to do with the theory? But hear me out. The egg is the inside. It is released into the children. Oh my goodness, we just went into a different topic. Jeez, sorry, that was a different conspiracy theory for another day. The chicken's oviduct, not sure what that is, once the shell is created around it. So essentially, if you don't understand what that's telling you, is that the thing that we know as the egg, which should be Animal Jam, right here, that we call an egg, is just the shell. So Animal Jam could in fact be the shell, and the actual eggs in Animal Jam could be the inside. You're still with us, alright? Stay here, we're gonna get pretty intense in this, alright? So the second, can't speak, this is a very intense conspiracy theory, it's just like, it's messing up my mouth, man, it's so much research. Alright, so, the second thing that we need to disprove is the fact that there are, in fact, a bunch of us inside this egg that is Animal Jam. There's not just one little chicken, look, we got like a ton of us, and there's a bunch of people over just in Jamaa Township. There's a bunch of us in here. So that brings us to the question, can two chickens hatch from an egg? Can we have multiple chickens from an egg? And for that, we're going to go right back to franklycurious.com, and they actually have it. So, if we're going back to about where we left off, we can see that, well, on occasion, a chicken will release 2 or more eggs in the oviduct, and they will end up inside a single shell. So right there, we have proof that an egg can, in fact, house at least multiple developing chickens. These would be fraternal, not identical twins. I'm not sure identical twins would be possible with chickens. My big question is whether twin chickens survive in nature. As it is, there's very little room inside the shell for even a single chick. On the other hand, double yolk shells are larger than normal shells. Check out this picture of 1 double and 2 single yolk eggs from Fresh Eggs Daily. As we can see, these are normal eggs that we would see just like in nature, kind of like the eggs inside Animal Jam. And then here is Animal Jam right here. We have a 2 yolk egg right here, which would contain all of us. So we now know that in fact a chicken can house multiple developing baby chickens inside an egg, which would explain all of us. So it says, not surprisingly, hens occasionally become egg-bound. This is more or less what it sounds like. The eggshell gets stuck in the hen's oviduct. Egg size isn't the only reason for this. It happens to very young hens, obese hens, those with too little calcium or too much protein. Check the link above if you want more information. Alright, and helping a chicken from this fatal problem is actually a lot less complicated than you would think. Alright, so getting back to the topic. Alright, these multiple yolk eggshells. They are much more common among hens who are just starting their laying careers. And as we know, Animal Jam, you know, it's only been around for like what? I don't know, maybe a decade. It's pretty new, man. It's a pretty new egg, so it's quite possible that this could have happened to Animal Jam. Alright, and those who are at the end of them. But in Asia, hens are bred to produce multiple yolk eggs because they are seen as a kind of delicacy, just like being able to have multiple animals in Animal Jam, which is exactly what members are able to do. So it would be considered a delicacy if you had to pay for it. And members do indeed have to pay to be able to have multiple animals. Just think about that. Think about that. I'm not sure how nice that is to the chicken, but regardless, much worse is done to chickens in this country. So, now what we have learned from this is that it is quite in fact possible for eggs to have multiple developing chickens or yolks inside of them, and that is essentially what Animal Jam is. Now when we're talking about the fairly new hen that is just starting to lay eggs, that in fact is National Geographic or WildWorks. Perhaps they are the two parents of the egg, which is Animal Jam, which would make a lot of sense because, I mean, hey, they want the money. They want you to buy membership. So they're just like what the people in China were doing, where they breed the chickens so that they specifically have more than one yolk because they want people to be able to have the satisfaction of having multiple animals. They want people to be able to have all of this because then people will pay for it. So they're selectively breeding this Animal Jam chicken to have all of us. So, there we go. Another questionable point disproven. You're starting to get with me? Well, trust me, we're not done yet. Now, I know that a lot of things in Animal Jam have to do with magic, and so you're probably thinking, well, Countess, why are you using all this logic, man? It can't possibly tie together with all this magic. You're just wasting your time. You could just say that anything happens because it's magical. Why are you doing this, Countess? But trust me, we're not done yet. So a lot of the Animal Jam lore starts, of course, with Mira and Zeos. They're all over the place. If we come up here, whoop, that's the wrong shot. You know what, maybe I did it on purpose. There's a Zeos right there. And there's a Mira up here. Obviously, they're kind of like the gods of Animal Jam. They are very important. They were there when Animal Jam began. Here's Mira. We even have the Temple of Zeos. It's a whole temple centered around Zeos, and here he is. So we know that Mira and Zeos are essentially like the origin of Animal Jam, and they have a lot to do with the magic essence of Animal Jam. So where do they come from, huh? If Animal Jam is just an egg, where did Mira and Zeos come from? We all know that Mira is a blue herring. She's a bird. Zeos, we're not entirely sure because he's always seen to be depicted with his mask. However, thanks to my buddy Julian 2 over here, I wish we were friends, man. I love you, man. You know, I wish I could say that he was my buddy, but I can't because I live a sad, lonely life. But anyways, he actually has a conspiracy theory that Zeos is a toucan, which, you guessed it, is another bird. So I'm saying, if you bear with me here, is that Mira and Zeos hatched from the egg that is Animal Jam. Alright, stay with me. I know that it's a stretch, but look. Listen to me. Would it really be that much of a stretch? I mean, just think about it, man. Like, they're here the whole time. And they would be like the mother and father of the new eggs coming into Animal Jam, because when they originally hatched from the egg, now they gotta take care of the other eggs that were within that egg, because there's multiple nurturing chickens or yolks depending on whether or not they're alive. So now they gotta take the responsibility, and so that's how they took over Animal Jam as kind of like the gods, and they knew that they had to protect us because we are family to them. We're all related. We came from the same big egg that is Animal Jam, and that is sort of why they were the first beings on Animal Jam, because that was when Animal Jam hatched. That was how they were created, and that would explain how they just kind of came from nowhere, because they were the egg that National Geographic and WildWorks produced first as a test to see if Animal Jam would work, and Mira and Zeos came out of it. So that's how they just came from nowhere. Well, they didn't come from nowhere. They came from Animal Jam's egg. It wasn't nowhere. National Geographic and WildWorks made an egg and it hatched Mira and Zeos. It's not all magic. We've got science here. Here on the Countess Spirit Claws channel, we have science. We aren't making pointless theories, man. This is science. So I know what you're thinking. Well, how does this all tie together? What can we really think about here? What does that mean for Animal Jam? Alright, so I mean, really, you could take this however you want. You know, maybe it's just, okay, well now we gotta live on with the fact that we're an egg. Or maybe it means something more. We have to delve into our lives as the chickens that we apparently are. So, next question to get into is, if this is an egg and we're all the chickens that develop from the egg after Mira and Zeus, then what does that make JamCon? Well, let me tell you, have you ever heard of a rodeo or a state fair or anything of the such? They have groups of poultry, they have groups of swines, which you don't know are just other words for chicken and pigs. And they're all in this one big building, and you can go to watch them. And obviously, there's some that are more famous than others. If they have competitions like races, which do happen at some sorts of rodeos, and you'll know what I'm talking about if you live around where I live, and those are popular. If you don't, just stay with me, I'm trying to explain it. And when you think about it, there are chickens who are notorious for doing certain things. There are chickens that people root for if they win a lot of races, if they have the biggest eggs, if they've known to produce the best children, then they're gonna be famous. Those are the famous jammers, you guys. Those famous chickens are the famous jammers. And the rest of the chickens are herded in and they want to meet the famous jammers, and other people want to observe them. So when you think about it, the owners of the chickens actually do come to the rodeo. That's WildWorks and National Geographic. They're observing how their chicken and all of the eggs that they produced in Animal Jam have nurtured and how they've grown. That is what JamCon is, all of you. It's not as simple as we thought it was. All of this, it's just figuring out what the egg is like. They formed a whole community. And when you think about it, National Geographic and WildWorks are one of the most successful chickens out there. They produced probably one of the biggest eggs with double yolks, even more after that has ever been created. So props to you, National Geographic and WildWorks. I never thought of it before. I always just thought that you had a successful game. But now I know that you have a very successful egg. And props to you. Maybe one day, all of you chicken breeders out there, I don't know if you know a chicken breeder, but hey man, just let them take a tip from National Geographic and WildWorks. They know what they're doing when they breed these chickens. It's a serious game, man. And now maybe when you're around Jamal, you'll appreciate all of these eggs a little bit more. And I was glad that I could shed some light on what National Geographic and WildWorks actually did here. As we all know, National Geographic is an animal company, so it makes sense that they would experiment with all these chickens, and it's been a very successful experiment. So I want all of you, when you take this home, just think about it. Don't just set it down. We're chickens. You gotta deal with it. We have to accept our new lives. And you gotta take a moment to think and appreciate the chickens that National Geographic and WildWorks have put out there. So if you guys enjoyed this great, on-point conspiracy, which is 100% true, please do leave a like on this video. You'll be sent an invisible high five from a hamster within 0.001 seconds. 100%. It's not a scam. And you know what? If you believe this conspiracy theory, leave me a comment, man. I already know that you believe it because it's really believable. I did a good job proving this, but if you really want to be that person, then you can comment, man. And as always, subscribe for some more great conspiracy theories to become an official fabulous sausage today. And I, the Countess, Queen of Conspiracy Theories, will see you all next time. But for now, Countess out.